June wiped the sweat from his forehead and looked at the clock on the wall. It was almost midnight. The repair shop was quiet except for the soft hum of machines. He had been working for 16 hours straight, fixing broken engines and damaged ship parts. Such was life on Horizon 9, a small space station at the edge of human space. Just one more day until the weekend, June said to himself. He stretched his arms and yawned. Horizon 9 was not a popular place. It was too far from Earth, too close to the border that separated humans from the Silvestris. Everyone knew about the Silvestris. Tall, strong, cat-like aliens with sharp claws and sharper teeth. They walked on two legs like humans but were much more dangerous. 5 years ago, humans and Silvestris had fought a bitter war. Now there was peace, but it was a cold peace. The two species stayed away from each other. June was putting his tools away when he heard a sound at the door. A heavy thud, then another. Someone was knocking. "We're closed," June called out. "Come back tomorrow." The knocking continued, louder this time. June sighed and walked to the door. It was probably Han from the cargo bay, always bringing in last-minute repairs. "I told you we're—" June's words died in his throat as the door slid open. Standing in the doorway was a Silvestris. Not just any Silvestris, but a female. She was huge, almost 8 feet tall, with black fur that seemed to swallow the light. Her yellow eyes glowed in the dim light of the workshop. June had never seen one up close before. Her muscles rippled under her fur as she breathed heavily. June took a step back, his heart racing. What was a Silvestris doing here? They never came to human stations. Never. The Silvestris made a low growling sound. June's hand moved slowly toward the alarm button under his workbench. But then he saw what the Silvestris was carrying. In her massive arms was a small bundle of fur. A cub, no bigger than a human child. The little one's fur was gray and dull, not the healthy shine it should have. Its small chest moved up and down with quick, painful breaths. "Fix the Silvestris," female said in a deep, rumbling voice. Her accent was thick, but the word was clear. "You fix machine, fix cub." June stood frozen. The Silvestris were known to be very protective of their young. For one to bring her cub to a human, something was very wrong. "I'm not a doctor," June said slowly, careful to make no sudden moves. "I fix machines, not living things." The Silvestris took a step forward. The door closed behind her with a soft hiss. She was now inside his workshop. June felt a cold drop of sweat run down his back. "Fix," she repeated, holding out the cub. Up close, June could see how sick the little one was. Its breathing was shallow and quick. Its eyes were half closed. "Please." The last word seemed to cost her great effort. Silvestris rarely spoke the human language. They considered it beneath them. "I can call someone," June offered. "There's a medical bay on level 3. The Silvestris shook her head. "No others, only you." She placed the cub gently on June's workbench, pushing aside tools and parts. "You good with hands? Fix things broken. Cub broken. Fix." June looked at the sick cub. He was completely out of his depth. He fixed engines and power cells, not living creatures. But the desperation in the mother's eyes was clear. Somehow she had decided he was her cub's only hope. "Let me call my friend," June said, reaching slowly for his comm unit. "She knows about different species. She can help." The Silvestris female watched him with wary eyes but made no move to stop him. June quickly called Minji. "June, do you know what time it is?" Minji's sleepy voice came through the comm. "Minji, I need you at my shop right now. It's an emergency." "What kind of emergency requires a xenobiologist at midnight?" "The kind where I have a Silvestris mother and her sick cub in my workshop." There was a long pause. "I'll be there in 5 minutes. Don't do anything until I arrive." While they waited, June carefully approached the cub. Its fur was hot to the touch, burning with fever. Its small claws, barely formed, twitched in pain. "What happened to him?" June asked. "Her," the Silvestris corrected. Name is Tay. Found old ship. Dead ship. Tay touched thing. Got sick after. Our healers cannot help. And you are? June asked, surprised by his own boldness. The Silvestri stared at him for a long moment. Nara, she finally said. The door slid open, and Minji rushed in, medical bag in hand. She stopped short when she saw Nara. At 5'4", Minji was dwarfed by the massive alien. But after the initial shock, her training took over. I need to examine the cub, she said, moving toward the workbench. Nara growled low but stepped aside. Minji ran a scanner over the small body. She frowned at the readings. This is strange, she said. Her vital signs are all wrong. It's like her body is shutting down, system by system. Can you help her? June asked. Minji bit her lip. I don't know. Silvestri's physiology isn't well documented. They've never allowed humans to study them. Nara moved closer, her yellow eyes fixed on Minji. You will help, or I will not leave. The threat was clear in her voice. If her cub died, there would be trouble. We'll do our best, June promised, not knowing if they could do anything at all. Minji began unpacking her medical equipment. We need to stabilize her first, then figure out what's causing this. June watched as Minji worked. The cub's breathing was getting weaker. Nara paced back and forth, her claws clicking on the metal floor. The sound echoed in the quiet workshop. Outside the window, the stars shone coldly in the black emptiness of space. Somewhere out there was the Silvestri's homeworld, a place no human had ever visited and lived to tell about it. And now, in his small repair shop on this forgotten station, June found himself trying to save the life of a Silvestri's cub. If she died, Nara would probably kill them both. If she lived, well, June wasn't sure what would happen then. All he knew was that this night had changed everything, and it was only the beginning. Morning came to Horizon 9, but June had not slept. He sat on a stool next to his workbench, watching the small cub struggle for breath. They had moved Tai to a padded mat that Minji had brought from the medical bay. The cub looked even smaller, now her once bright fur now dull and lifeless. Minji had worked through the night, trying everything she could think of to help the sick cub, but nothing seemed to work. The fever remained high, and the breathing stayed weak and uneven. Nara had not left her cub's side. The big Silvestri sat on the floor, her yellow eyes never leaving her young one. She had not spoken much, only growling when anyone came too close to Tay. I need to get more supplies, Minji said quietly to June. And I should check the station's database again. There might be something I missed. June nodded. Go. I'll stay here. After Minji left, June looked at the small cub again. As a mechanic, he was used to fixing broken things. When something didn't work, there was always a reason. A loose wire, a broken part, a power failure. Find the problem, fix it, and the machine works again. But living things were different, more complex, more mysterious. How did this happen? June asked Nara, hoping to understand more. Nara's ears twitched. She seemed to be deciding whether to answer. Finally, she spoke, her voice a low rumble. Our ship found old wreck. Dead ship. From long ago. Before war. We went inside to look for useful things. Nara's claws extended and retracted as she spoke, scraping against the floor. Tay was with me. She is learning to hunt to find value. She found strange box. Touched it before I could stop her. What kind of box? June asked. Metal. Glowing with blue light. Had markings. Human markings. June frowned. Human? You're sure? Nara nodded. Yes, old human words. Not like new words. This was strange. If the ship was from before the war, how could it have human writing on it? Humans and Silvestris had only met 30 years ago. After Tay touched Box, she got sick. First, just tired, then hot, then, Nara gestured to her cubs, condition. Our healers tried. Said it was not natural sickness, said it was human thing. So you brought her here, June said, understanding now. To Edge Station, Where humans fix things. Watched you many days. You fix hard things. Things others cannot fix. June was surprised. You've been watching me? From shadows. Saw you work. Saw you think. Saw you fix what others call broken beyond repair. June didn't know whether to feel flattered or scared that a Silvestris had been stalking him. Before he could respond, Minji returned with a large case of equipment. I've been thinking, she said as she set up her new tools. This isn't behaving like any disease I know. The symptoms are all wrong. What do you mean? June asked. Look at the pattern, Minji said, showing him the readings on her scanner. It's like her systems are shutting down one by one. Almost like a machine powering down, June finished, seeing the pattern himself. Minji looked at him in surprise. Exactly, but that doesn't make sense. Silvestris are biological beings, not machines. Nara made a hissing sound that made both humans turn to her. Her fur had risen along her back and her eyes were narrow slits. Sorry, Minji said quickly. I didn't mean any offense. Nara settled back down but kept watching them carefully. June looked at the cub again, this time with a mechanic's eye. If Tai were a machine that was powering down, what would he check first? The power source, he muttered. What? Minji asked. Minji. In a machine, if systems are shutting down one by one, I'd check the power source first. Is it depleted? Is it damaged? Is something draining it? Minji frowned. But living beings don't have power sources. They have hearts, lungs, brains. Energy is energy, June said. Whether it flows through wires or blood vessels, something is draining Tai's energy. He turned to Nara. This box Tai touched. Can you describe it better? Size? Shape? Anything else you remember? Nara held her hands about, a foot apart. This big, smooth, cold metal. Blue light came from lines on surface. Lines? Like a pattern? June asked. Yes, like... Nara looked around, then pointed to a circuit board on June's desk. June's heart beat faster. Like circuits? Nara nodded. June and Minji exchanged looks. I need to do a different kind of scan, June said. Not for biological problems, for energy. He went to his storage locker and pulled out a device with a flat screen and a handheld wand. What is that? Minji asked. Quantum flux detector. I use it to find energy leaks in ship cores. June turned it on and the screen lit up with swirling patterns. It can detect energy moving in unusual ways. June moved the wand slowly over Tai's small body. At first nothing happened. Then as the wand passed over the cub's chest, the screen flashed bright blue. There's something there, June said, adjusting the settings to get a clearer reading. Something giving off energy. Inside her. Minji looked at the screen, her face pale. That's not possible. Nara moved closer, looking from the screen to her. Cub. What is it? I'm not sure, June said honestly. But I think whatever was in that box attached itself to Tai somehow, and it's draining her energy. Remove it, Nara demanded, her voice hard. It's not that simple, June said. We don't even know what it is yet, and it's inside her. We need to learn more before we try anything. Then learn fast, Nara growled. Tai grows weaker. Minji pulled June aside. This is beyond me, she whispered. I've never seen anything like this. We should call for help. Get a real medical team here. June shook his head. You know what would happen. The military would take over. They'd treat this as a security issue. They might even... He didn't finish the sentence, but Minji understood. The fragile peace between humans and Silvestris was built on fear and distrust. The military might see this as a chance to study a Silvestris, willing or not. We need to do this ourselves, June said. I have an idea, but I need time. He turned back to Nara. I think I can help Tai, but I need to build something first. A tool that can interact with whatever is inside her. Will you trust me? Nara looked at June with those strange yellow eyes. She was a predator from a race that had nearly wiped out humanity in the recent war. And she was trusting him with the life of her cub. "How long?" she asked. 2 days, maybe 3. Nara looked at her cub, who seemed smaller and weaker by the hour. 2 days, she agreed. Then, if Tai lives or dies, our debt is paid. June nodded, understanding the promise and the threat in her words. As Minji stayed to monitor Tai, June began gathering parts and tools. His workshop, once a place where he fixed ordinary machines, had become something else. A place where the fate of 2 species might change forever, because June had not told them everything. The energy pattern he had seen on the screen was like nothing he had encountered before, and yet somehow it seemed familiar, as if he had always known it would exist. The next 2 days would show whether his crazy idea would save a life or end it, and perhaps change everything they thought they knew about humans and Silvestris. June did not leave his workshop for 2 days. He worked without stopping, only taking short breaks to eat or use the bathroom. His workbench was covered with tools, wires, and small electronic parts. In the corner, Minji watched over Tai, giving the cub small amounts of water and nutrients to keep her alive. Nara never left her cub's side. She sat on the floor, sometimes sleeping for short periods, but mostly watching June work with her bright yellow eyes. "What are you making?" Minji asked June as he connected a small screen to a handheld device. "Something that can talk to the thing inside Tai," June said. He wiped sweat from his forehead. "I think it's a machine, a very small machine. So small we can't see it without special tools." "A nano machine?" Minji asked. "But why would it be hurting Tai?" "I don't think it's trying to hurt her," June said. "I think it's trying to connect with her systems, but there's something wrong with the connection." On the second day, June finally finished his device. It looked like a small tablet with wires, connecting to a flat pad. "It's ready," he told Nara. "I need to place this pad on Tai's chest where the energy is strongest." Nara nodded slowly. "Will it hurt her?" "No," June said. "It just reads information. It doesn't do anything to her." Nara moved aside to let June place the pad on Tai's chest. The small cub was barely breathing now. Her once bright fur was dull and falling out in places. June turned on his device. The screen lit up with strange patterns and numbers. "What does it say?" Minji asked, looking over his shoulder. June's eyes widened as he read the information. "This can't be right." He adjusted some settings and scanned again. The results were the same. "What is it?" Nara demanded. June looked up at her, then back at the screen. "According to these readings, there's a network of nanomachines throughout Tai's body, not just the one we detected in her chest. They're everywhere, in her blood, her muscles, her brain." "What does that mean?" Minji asked. June took a deep breath. "It means that Tai is not just a biological being. She's part machine, and so are you," he said, looking at Nara. Nara's fur rose along her back. She made a low, dangerous sound in her throat. "Secret," she hissed. "Sacred secret." June and Minji exchanged shocked looks. "You knew?" Minji asked. "All Silvestris know," Nara said. Her voice was angry, but she made no move to attack them. "It is our most sacred secret, the gift of the ancestors." "I don't understand," June said. "How can your entire species be part machine, and why keep it secret?" Nara stood up to her full height, looking down at the 2 humans. "Long ago, before stars had names, our people were dying. Our world was cold. Food was gone. The ancestors came in ships of light. They gave us the gift. The tiny machines that made us stronger, smarter, able to survive in the cold." "The ancestors?" Minji asked. "Who were they?" "We do not know," Nara said. "They left, but their gift remained. It is in all Silvestris from birth. It is what makes us who we are." June looked at his device again. And the thing Tai touched. It changed her nanomachine somehow. It's like they're trying to update themselves, but something's wrong with the update. "Can you fix it?" Nara asked. "Maybe," June said. "But I need to connect directly to the nanomachines. I need to send them new instructions on how." Minji asked. June pointed to another device on his workbench. It looked like a metal helmet with wires coming out of it. This is a neural interface. I use it to communicate with ship computers when their voice systems are down. If I connect it to my device, I might be able to send a reset command to Tay's nanomachines. Minji grabbed his arm. That's too dangerous. You're talking about connecting your brain to an alien technology we don't understand. It's the only way, June said. The nanomachines are too complex for simple commands. They need detailed instructions that only a direct interface can provide. But what if it affects you? Minji asked. What if it changes your brain? June looked at Tai. The small cub was barely alive. Her chest rose and fell in weak, shallow breaths. She'll die if I don't try, he said simply. Nara had been listening to their conversation. Now she spoke. If you help Tay, I will protect you. No human will know our secret from me. June nodded. He understood what she was offering. A pact of silence. A trust between enemies. He put the neural interface on his head and connected it to his device. Then he placed his hand on the pad that rested on Tai's chest. Here goes nothing, he said. June pressed a button on his device. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a jolt of energy shot through his body. His back arched and his eyes rolled back in his head. June, Minji cried, reaching for him. Do not touch him, Nara warned, holding Minji back. The connection must not break. Inside June's mind, a whole new world opened. He could see Tay's nanomachine network like a beautiful web of light. But there was a dark spot in the web, a corruption spreading from her chest outward. June focused his thoughts, sending commands through the interface: fix, reset, restore. As he worked, something strange happened. The nanomachines responded to him as if they recognized him, as if his commands were familiar to them. Then, suddenly, a flood of images rushed into June's mind. He saw the history of the Silvestris race. He saw prehistoric, cat-like creatures, huddled in caves on a dying world. He saw massive ships descending from the stars. He saw beings in suits giving the gift of nanomachines to the primitive Silvestris. And then he saw the faces of those beings as they removed their helmets. They were human, not modern humans, but humans nonetheless. Ancestors from a civilization, millions of years before recorded history. A civilization that had reached the stars and found the primitive ancestors of the Silvestris. The shock almost broke June's concentration. He forced himself back to the task at hand. The nanomachines in Tai's body were confused by the device she had touched. It had sent them an update that wasn't compatible with their current systems. June sent a simple command. Reject update. Return to previous state. Slowly, the dark spot in the web began to shrink. The corruption retreated. The nanomachines returned to their normal function. With a gasp, June broke the connection. He fell backward, the neural interface slipping from his head. Minji caught him before he hit the floor. June, are you okay? June's eyes fluttered open, his head pounded, and his mouth was dry. But he was alive. Did it work? He asked. They all looked at Tay. For a long moment, nothing changed. Then the small cub took a deep breath. Her chest rose and fell strongly. The color began to return to her fur. Nara made a sound unlike anything they had heard before, a purr of joy and relief. She gently picked up her cub, holding her close. Tay's eyes opened. They were bright yellow, clear and alert. She made a small mewing sound and nuzzled against her mother's chest. You did it, Minji whispered to June. You saved her. But June was staring at Nara with new eyes. He had seen the truth. A truth that changed everything they thought they knew about humans and Silvestris. We need to talk, he said to Nara. About what I saw when I was connected to Tai's systems. Nara looked at him, her eyes narrowing. What did you see? I saw your ancestors, June said. And I saw who gave them the gift of nanomachines. Nara's ears flattened against her head. Impossible. No one knows who the ancestors were. I saw them, June insisted. And they were human. Silence filled the workshop. Nara stood with her back to the wall, holding Tay close to her chest. The small cub was getting stronger by the minute, her fur regaining its natural shine. Minji looked from June to Nara, her eyes wide with shock. Human ancestors? How is that possible? June sat on his stool, still dizzy from the neural connection. Not modern humans, he explained. Ancient humans, from a civilization that existed millions of years ago, long before our written history. Lies. Nara growled, but her voice lacked conviction. The ancestors came from the stars. Yes, they did, June said. But they were human, or at least a form of human. I saw them, Nara. When I connected with Ty's systems, I saw them clearly. Nara's ears flattened against her head. How can we trust what you saw? It could be tricks, false images. Why would the nanomachines show me false images? June asked. They recognized me somehow. They responded to my commands as if they were made to be controlled by humans. Minji shook her head in disbelief. If this is true, it changes everything we know about human history, and about our relationship with the Silvestris. We are not related to humans, Nara insisted. We are Silvestris, proud hunters, not soft, weak humans. The nanomachines didn't make you human, June said. They just enhanced what you already were. Your ancestors were already strong, smart hunters. The nanomachines just helped you survive when your world was dying. Tay stirred in her mother's arms, making a small chirping sound. Her eyes were open now, bright and curious. She looked at June with interest. She recognizes you, Nara said, surprised. The connection you made, she remembers it. June smiled at the small cub. Hello, Tay. To everyone's surprise, Tay reached out a small paw toward June. Nara hesitated, then slowly brought her daughter closer to the human. I need to understand more about what happened, June said. The nanomachines showed me images, but there's so much I still don't know. I need to connect again. No, Minji said firmly. It's too dangerous. You were lucky the first time. A deeper connection could harm your brain. I agree with the small human, Nara said. You have done enough. Tay is saved. That was our agreement. Don't. You want to know the truth? June asked. About where your people came from? About why we've been fighting each other when we might be connected? Nara looked troubled. She stroked Tay's head gently. Our elders say that knowledge can be a dangerous thing. Some secrets are kept for a reason. What about the device that Tay touched? June pressed. The one with human writing on it. What if there are more out there? What if more cubs get sick? Wouldn't it be better to understand how these nanomachines work? Nara was silent for a long moment. Finally, she spoke. What do you need to do? I need to connect with Tay's systems again, June said. But this time I need to go deeper, to access the oldest parts of the nanomachine network, the original programming. And this will tell you about the ancestors? I think so, June said. The nanomachines contain a record of their own creation. I caught glimpses of it before. Nara looked at her daughter, then back at June. If I allow this, you must promise two things. First, you will tell no other humans what you learn about us. Second, you will share all knowledge you gain with me. I promise, June said without hesitation. Minji grabbed his arm. June, think about this. You're talking about connecting your mind directly to an alien technology. What if you can't disconnect? What if it changes you? I have to try, June said. This could be the key to peace between our species. June prepared the neural interface again. This time he added more sensors and adjusted the settings for a deeper connection. His hands shook slightly as he worked. Are you afraid? Nara asked. Watching him. Yes, June admitted. But sometimes we need to be afraid to discover the truth. When everything was ready, Nara placed Tay on the workbench. The cub was much stronger now, sitting up and looking around with bright eyes. Be gentle with her, Nara told June. Her mind is young. June nodded. He put on the neural interface and placed his hand on Tay's back. The cub looked up at him without fear. Here we go, June said, and activated the connection. This time, the rush of information was even more powerful. June felt himself falling into a sea of light and data. The nanomachine network expanded around him. a vast web of connections that spread through every cell of Ty's body. June focused his thoughts, searching for the oldest parts of the network, the core programming, the beginning. And then he found it, a protected section of code that had remained unchanged for millions of years, the original instructions given by the ancestors. As June accessed this ancient code, something strange happened. The nanomachines recognized him at a fundamental level, not just as a controller, but as something more, as family. A stream of images and information flooded June's mind. He saw Earth, millions of years ago, a human civilization far more advanced than the present one. They had mastered space travel, genetic engineering, and nanotechnology. He saw how they discovered the primitive ancestors of the Silvestris on a distant, dying world. Cat-like creatures huddled in caves as their planet grew colder. He saw how the ancient humans decided to help these creatures, not by taking them to a new planet, but by giving them the tools to survive on their own, the nanomachines that would enhance their bodies and minds. He saw how the ancient humans had programmed the nanomachines with a special code, a recognition pattern that would identify human DNA, a safeguard to ensure the Silvestris and humans would never destroy each other if they met again in the future. But something had gone wrong. Over millions of years, the recognition code had become corrupted. When humans and Silvestris finally met again, the safeguard failed. Instead of recognition, there was fear. Instead of peace, there was war. June reached deeper into the code, searching for a way to restore the recognition pattern. If he could fix this, he might be able to prove the connection between humans and Silvestris. As he worked, June became aware of another presence in the network. A small, curious mind watching him. Tay was conscious in the connection, observing everything he did, and then something amazing happened. Tay's mind touched his, not through the nanomachines, but directly. A simple, childlike contact, friendly, curious, without fear. In that moment, June and Tay shared something beyond words. He felt her joy at being alive, her love for her mother, her fascination with the strange human who had saved her. And she felt his wonder, his excitement at discovery, his hope for peace between their kinds. It was the most surreal experience of June's life. A connection between species that went beyond language or culture. A simple understanding between two minds. With Tay's help, June found what he was looking for. The original recognition code. The pattern that would prove the connection between humans and Silvestris. Carefully, he copied this code into his own interface. Then, with a gentle thought of thanks to Tay, he began to disconnect. The workshop came back into focus around him. Minji was holding his shoulders. Nara was watching him intensely, and Tai was sitting on the workbench, her small paw resting on his hand. "Did you find what you were looking for?" Nara asked. June nodded, too overwhelmed to speak immediately. The connection with Tai had been more profound than he could have imagined. "I found it," he finally said. "I know who the ancestors were, and I know why they gave your people the nanomachines." "Tell me," Nara demanded. June looked at the small cub who had shared her mind with him. Then he looked at Nara, the fierce mother who had trusted him against all odds. "They were trying to save you," he said simply. "And they left a message for when we met again." 3 weeks had passed since June saved Tay. The small repair shop on Horizon 9 had changed. It was still filled with tools and machine parts, but one corner now had soft blankets and small toys. Tay liked to play there when she and her mother visited, and they visited often. June was working on a small drone when the side door opened. Nara entered, ducking her head under the doorway. Tay bounded in after her, running straight to June with a happy chirp. "Hello, little one," June said, picking up the cub. Tay had grown stronger every day since the connection. Her fur was now thick and shiny, her eyes bright with intelligence. Nara nodded to June. "The human doctor is coming today?" "Yes," June said. "Minji is bringing her. She's a friend we can trust." Today was an important day. They were going to show another human the truth about the Silvestris. Dr. Hana was an old friend of Minji's, a respected xenobiologist who had always argued for peace between the species. "Are you sure this is wise?" Nara asked. She still had doubts about sharing their secret. "We need her help to understand the nanomachines better," June explained. "And to find more evidence of the ancient connection between our species." Since the deep connection with Tai, June had been studying the data he downloaded from the nanomachines. He had confirmed that an advanced human civilization had indeed helped the primitive Silvestris survive, but he needed more proof to convince others. The door opened again, and Minji entered with Dr. Hana. The doctor was an older woman with gray hair and kind eyes. She stopped when she saw Nara, her face showing both fear and wonder. "It's okay," Minji assured her. "Nara is a friend." Dr. Hana slowly approached the Silvestris. "I never thought I would be this close to one of you," she said. "Thank you for trusting me." Nara nodded but remained watchful. Tai, however, had no such concerns. She jumped from June's arms and ran to inspect the newcomer, sniffing at her shoes. Dr. Hana smiled at the cub. "She seems healthy." "She is now," June said. "But that's not why we asked you here." He took a deep breath. "What we're about to show you will change everything you think you know about humans and Silvestris." For the next hour, June and Minji explained everything they had discovered. The nanomachines in the Silvestris, the ancient human civilization that had created them, the connection that had been lost over millions of years. "This is extraordinary," Dr. Hana said when they finished. "If what you're saying is true, our two species were never meant to be enemies. We need your help to prove it," June said. "I have the data from Tei's nanomachines, but we need more evidence. Historical records, genetic studies, anything that might show a connection." Dr. Hana thought for a moment. "There are ruins on Arcturus, copy that have never been fully explained. Structures that predate our earliest civilizations by millions of years. If your ancient humans were real, there might be evidence there." "We should go," Minji said excitedly. "A research expedition to Arcturus IV. We could find the proof we need." "Not just humans," Nara said suddenly. Everyone turned to look at her. "If we search for truth, we search together. Silvestris and humans." This was unexpected. Silvestris rarely left their own territories and they never worked with humans. "Would your people allow it?" Dr. Hana asked. "Some would not," Nara admitted. "But others might. Those who are tired of war. Those who want to know the truth of our past." June looked at Tei, who was now playing with a small robot toy he had made for her. "We were meant to be allies, not enemies. The ancient humans programmed the nanomachines to recognize human DNA, to create a bond between our species. But something went wrong," Minji added. "The recognition program became corrupted over millions of years." "Can it be fixed?" Dr. Hana asked. June nodded. "I think so. The original code is still there, buried deep in the nanomachines. If we could reactivate it, it might help the Silvestris recognize humans as friends, not threats." "And would humans recognize Silvestris as friends?" Nara asked. Her yellow eyes were serious. "Or would they fear our strength and try to control us?" It was a fair question. Humans had a long history of fearing what they didn't understand. "That's why we need proof," June said. "Evidence so clear that no one can deny it. We need to show both species that we share a past." Dr. Hana stood up. "I'll help you. I have connections in the Science Council. I can arrange a research expedition to Arcturus IV. And I will speak to our elders," Nara said. "Some will listen. Not all, but some." As they discussed plans, Tei climbed into June's lap. The cub looked up at him with those intelligent yellow eyes. Ever since their mind connection, there had been a special bond between them. Tei often seemed to know what June was thinking before he said it. "What do you think, little one?" June asked softly. "Can we change the way things are?" Tei made a purring sound and touched June's face with her small paw. In that touch, June felt the same connection they had shared in the nanomachine network, a simple understanding that went beyond words. Over the next months, things began to change. Dr. Hana organized the expedition to Arcturus 4. June, Minji, and Nara were part of the team, along with 3 other Sylvestris who had agreed to join after hearing Nara's story. They found evidence in the ancient ruins, carvings that showed humans and cat-like creatures standing together, records of a dying world and a mission of mercy, proof that millions of years ago humans and the ancestors of the Sylvestris had been friends. As word spread, more Sylvestris began to visit Horizon 9. They came with sick cubs or with questions about their past. June's small repair shop became a meeting place between the species. Not everyone accepted the new truth. Some humans still feared the Sylvestris. Some Sylvestris still hated humans. But change had begun, and it grew stronger every day. One evening, as June was closing his shop, he found Nara waiting for him. Tay was with her, no longer a small cub, but growing into a young Sylvestris. "We are leaving tomorrow," Nara said. "Returning to our homeworld." June felt a pang of sadness. He had grown fond of them both. "Will you come back?" "Yes," Nara said, "but not alone. Others wish to learn about humans, to understand the connection." "You'll be a teacher then," June said with a smile. "As will you," Nara replied. "The Human Council has asked you to visit our world, to teach about the nanomachines. Will you come?" June looked at Tay, who was watching him expectantly. No human had ever visited the Sylvestris' homeworld and returned. It would be dangerous, but also an incredible opportunity. "Yes," he said. "I'll come." Tay made a happy sound and jumped into his arms one last time. As June held her, he thought about how much had changed because of one desperate mother bringing her sick cub to a human mechanic. Sometimes the greatest changes begin with the smallest acts of trust. A Sylvestris trusting a human trusting a Sylvestris, and in that trust, finding a connection that had been lost for millions of years. As Nara and Tai prepared to leave, June knew this was not an ending, but a beginning. The beginning of a new relationship between 2 species that were always meant to be friends, and it had all started in his small repair shop on the edge of space, with a simple request: "Fix cub."